podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
This is London. London calling in the home, overseas and European services.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Achtung Millwall. Broadcasting from beautiful South Bermondsey, it's the #1 Millwall podcast.
Hello dear listeners, welcome one and all. Welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart and welcome to a midsummer edition, which is in the fringes now of the Football League season, soon to come. We're actually in the middle of the friendly purgatory. I don't do friendlies, dear listeners. I think that's fairly well known on this show by now. But we do have a few voice notes from Saturday's 1-0 loss at Stevenage. It's been an indifferent old pre-season campaign. But then the point and purpose of these games is the football cliche of game time, minutes in legs, isn't it? So I don't do friendlies, and the main reason for that is it's a bit like, to me, paying to go and watch people at Newham Leisure Centre work out on their bikes and weights and whatnot. I don't do that either. You'll be thankful to hear. So for me, friendly football generally, it lacks a competitive element that is essential. I've actually literally just bought the tickets, a ticket rather, for the Queen's Park Rangers Carabao Cup game, the first real match of the season. That's a kind of a strange twilight zone between friendly football and the league game Bristol City away, which will follow the week after. It exists in a kind of a strange grey area, doesn't it? Carabao Cup football, but obviously we want to win that. As I say, with some of the indifferent results of the pre-season so far, it'd be nice to get something convincing out of that trip to Loftus Road on August the 9th, I believe it is. I think it is. So anyway, ordered a ticket today. The system at the moment is favouring people with points over 660, which I'm lucky enough to have, but I think there'll be other tickets on sale through the week. So depending on your points, your loyalty points total, the system that they're using at Millwall, not a bad system, I can't think of a better one personally, then do log on. Hopefully we'll see you at QPR on the 9th. News before we go into the meat of this pre-Bromley hors d'oeuvre. That's how I'm thinking of it, an hors d'oeuvre ahead of tonight's game at Bromley, Hayes Lane. But we've just looked on the club X feed, and we actually now have season tickets available for sale in the North Stand, the away end, which is wonderful news. The works that have been done there have been done at pace, clearly. So well done to the club, well done to the contractors that they use, and it's being advertised on the club's X feed right now. Season tickets in the North Stand, amazing. That's the first time, apart from the Oldham game. I remember the Oldham game back in 2001, the championship winning season, the very last game of the season. I think then home fans were allowed in the North Stand. That's the only other time that I know of, because they had a little group of Oldham, a coach load in the Barry Kitchener, as it became, the West Upper, under heavy guard. But that was the only other time that I can think of that home fans have been in the North Stand. So yeah, well done Millwall. That's incredible work. As I say, I'm speaking to you ahead of tonight's game at Bromley, which is available to watch live. I will not be watching it, dear listeners. I will be going by the reports and written and any voicemails that we get back from anyone that goes to the game. Do let me know, have your voicemails if you want to partake in this season's Achtung Millwall. Relentlessly, it will be an audio only show. I do not do YouTube, apart from the automatic feed that goes over, which is the sound file basically. So this is audio only, so you don't need to put your mug on camera with this show at least. So if you do want to contribute, it's really, really welcome. I love the voice note show. And give me a shout on X at achtungmillwall, and or email me achtungmillwall@gmail.com. I will stick both links in the show notes. And before I go into the first voice note, I'm going to say well done to Jake Cooper, who I see on the club feed has been here with 9 years now. That's an incredible record, and I think I will check this whilst I bring in the first voice note, that I think he's now amongst the top 5 all-time appearances. But let's go straight into a report from Saturday's game at Stevenage, a 1-0 loss. First up will be Bobby T, followed by David Leadecramer.
Good afternoon, Bobby T here. Listen, mate, I've switched off and I don't give two flying for... Hello, Nick. Sorry about that. Look, I switched off for the whole summer and I've only come back to say, babe, I don't give two fucks about friendlies, boys. right? I'll be worried if we fucking lose to Bromley, but Gillingham, Andorra, fucking the other team who we played, Stevenage, I don't give two flights. It's all about fucking August the 12th against Bristol Tractor fucking boy. That's all I care about. People are worrying about pre-season friendly bollocks, mate. Love you all. See you soon, Bobby T. Bristol City. Bye for now.
Hello, Nick. David Leadecramer here. I watched the Stevenage game on Millwall TV, which was fortunate. I had thought about going, but in retrospect, I'm really glad I didn't. What can one say? It was a pretty typical friendly. I thought we started off pretty brightly. And it's always very difficult to read too much into friendly games. Yes, we got beaten 1-0 with a Cooper own goal. On another day, we might well have scored a couple. It's just one of those things. So what I thought I'd do is just mention a few players that I thought played well, one or two I thought didn't play so well. I think Negley is clearly a class act. He's got fantastic skills and he showed them throughout the afternoon. The occasional lapse, but without him we'd be really lacking creativity. Kundal, I thought, had quite a poor game, really. He had a chance to shine, but didn't really do enough. Often balls were misplaced, and I wasn't particularly impressed by him. Coburn was well marshalled by their defence, got away from a few times, missed a fairly easy chance, as is pretty routine and customary for him. And the defence, Cooper looked pretty solid. I think the own goal was a bit unlucky. Bagot looked also quite decent. I was quite pleased with him as well. The second half, we didn't play well at all, really. It was very disjointed. We had a very second string and young team out after about 60 minutes, and none of them really impressed. Quite like the look of Massey. I thought he did okay when he came on. Lovelace was reasonably anonymous. They put Joel Coleman in goal, which was, again, not particularly interesting in the sense that he's hardly likely to get a game during the season itself, given that we're going to be using, I would have thought, Jensen and Crocombe and possibly even bringing in a keeper. And so really it was a 1-0 friendly with not much to say about it. I think that the next couple of games against Bromley and Royal Antwerp will hopefully see us put in a better overall performance. To be fair, we did move the ball around well, but we didn't create that many chances, and I think that it's too early to say whether or not the loss of Aziz, and I'm sure he is going to go at some point in the near future. There were rumours around that he's on his way, but we'll see how that transpires over the next few days or week. But without Aziz, we are going to obviously struggle to create in quite the same way. I thought that our Cont looked good actually up top, and I think he is going to be a good player for us. So that was definitely a positive as well. Anyway, I hope you had a good holiday, and come on, you Lions.
Huge thank you to Bobby T first of all, and then David Leadecramer after Bobby. I always think Bobby's approach there, the man don't give a fuck. There's a famous book about Robin Friday, who was a Reading player in the 70s, a tortured genius. Long-haired tortured genius who I think lost his life to the to rock and roll basically, and that always reminds me of Bobby's approach there about friends. I'm very similar actually, Bob. I don't really take them terribly seriously, though. Listening to David there in that report on Stevenage on Saturday, I suppose, are there causes for complaint? I think at the moment, I didn't see the game, so I can't really comment, only going by second-hand reports. But it is about a workout rather than the actual result. And the reason I say that, dear listeners, is we're caught in a kind of a spin here. We're caught in a trap, as Elvis once sang. On the one hand, you want a result, you want to win, and you want to look good. On the other, you don't want players to extend themselves and get injured, i.e., like Mihailo Ivanovic, who we'll come back to. So you've got a kind of a double-headed monster there, haven't you? You want to win, but you don't want to play so hard that you take casualties. Some interesting points. The own goal from Cooper. I mean, obviously he is now a club legend, I think, in all regular senses of the word. Fourth in the table of all-time appearances, Jake Cooper. Top Barry Kitchener, 589. I think that is some way off. 160 odd appearances needed for Jake. Though he might not make it that far, but he certainly has Harry Cripps in sight. He's on 432. Harry, club legend. I mean, these are iconic names, aren't they? And then Keith Stevens with 546. Again, that's 120 appearances, league appearances or cups away. So that might be difficult, but I think certainly Jake Cooper will, injuries allowing and the football gods permitting, will pass Harry Cripps next season. That's going to be some moment, because Harry Cripps, I was fortunate enough to see him in these latter days when I started going, and he is a club legend, and that puts Jake Cooper in that bracket for me, dear listeners. So, big season ahead. We need his leadership, we need his physical presence. Unfortunately, he seems to have scored an own goal on Saturday, but there we go. That's the way football goes, especially friendly football. I'm not too fussed about it. A disjointed second half with kids and other players playing, says David, in the second half. So that's really what friendlies are for. I suppose is it a concern? Don't know. We don't seem to be producing kids through the ranks like we used to. We've lost McNamara and Billy Mitchell in this summertime. Danny Mac allowed to go at the end of his contract, and Billy chose not to renew with us and go to Sheffield Wednesday. So two Millwall boys going there. I suppose that's the only concern. Are you concerned about our lack of Millwallness, dear listeners? There's a word for you. I don't know. Let's have a listen to Hasan, who also is reviewing Saturday's friendly at Stevenage, to see what Hasan made of it.
Hello Nick, it's Hasan here. I hope you had a wonderful summer, and wherever you've been on holiday, had a great time as well. I didn't think I'd be leaving a voice note after a pre-season game, but I did manage to watch it on Millwall TV, despite the poor camera angles at times. I'm not going to get too worried about the scoreline. I think some people on Twitter, for example, are having an absolute meltdown over the scoreline. It's a joke, really. It's just a glorified run out, isn't it, really? Just to let fans in the stadium so they can see the new players, see the new kit, that sort of thing. Anyone who's worried about us not scoring goals, I oblige you to watch Chat with Chaps, another good YouTube Mill podcast. They done an interview with Steve Morrison, and he was quite blunt when it comes about pre-season friendlies. He goes, he couldn't give a damn. He goes, it's a training exercise. He never used to score in pre-seasons, and he still went on to score double figures in the league. So, anyone who's worried about our strikers not scoring goals, take that as advice from one of our best strikers ever. But the game itself, I'm not going to go detail to detail. I'm just going to ring off some names who I thought impressed me. I like the look of I'll talk about the new players. I like the look of Baggett and centre back. He's like a carbon copy of Cooper, really. A little bit gangly at times with the ball, but physically imposing, looks quite composed. And I think he's one of those players who will get better with age. I was impressed with Sykes. He played that wing-back role quite well. The amount of times we've done a long diag, I'm thinking, the winger ain't going to be up there. I think it was Negley who was playing left or right wing. But no, it was Sykes bombing forward. So I was impressed with that. His cardio, obviously, and his fitness is up to scratch, obviously. I like the look of Metcalf. Very mature on such young shoulders. Very mature head on young shoulders there. I like the way he gets around the pitch. He's always offering for the ball. A couple of times he's got caught out here and there. But I like the look of him, and unfortunately, he's probably... It's not even unfortunate, it is what it is. I think he's an improvement on Billy Mitchell. All the best to him, by the way, at Sheffield Wednesday, even though I don't think that's how the plan worked out. I think once Metcalf and Dinor, if they are going to be the starting two, once they start to click, I think they're going to be a real partnership. I think they complement each other quite well. For our Conte, he's a physical specimen, isn't he? Honestly, what a beast of a player. Should have scored maybe 1 or 2 goals today, but the fact he's getting in those positions, he's always on the shoulder of defenders. He's going to cause a lot of problems. He's got pace, he's got power, he's got something which we haven't had for a very long time. Emeka was maybe the closest, but I think Akonte he's quicker than Emeku. He's better with the ball. I was very impressed with him and looking forward to what the season brings. Apart from that, Sturge was brilliant. I thought he had a good first half. A couple of others were okay. Second half, I'm going to be a bit negative here. I think some of these fringe players, for me, they're just not shown enough. RBW, he's a complete shadow of the player that we saw in that period a couple of seasons ago. There was a moment in the second half where the ball came to him. He just let it roll under his foot. So I really don't know what's going on with him. I think he needs to go out on loan to League Two or League One team, and a couple of other players. I think Kendall looked okay when he came on, but it is what it is. I think there'll be a few more signs through the door. I don't know why people are panicking. I mean, today, for example, looking at the first team, you've got new players, so they need to learn each other's teammates, each other's games. We got first team players who aren't back. Kramer, for example, Taylor. Aziz's probably got 1 foot out the door already, so you can write that one off. But Kramer and Taylor, first team players. Doughty, you need to assume that he's a first team player as well, obviously. So I'm not panicking. I don't know why people are. I'm going Tuesday night against Bromley, local game. Nice summer's evening. Watch a game of football. Why not? See some of the new players up close and personal. Then the real business really starts against Bristol City. QPR again it's another glorified league game in a way. I don't know if that is a poor way of putting it, but it's not a friendly, but it's not a league game. But I think you'll find whoever starts against Bristol will probably be there or thereabouts against QPR. But yeah, I'll leave it short, even though it's 5 minutes. And yeah, looking forward to the season now, mate. All the best. Thank you.
Huge thanks, Hasan. Yeah, pre-season friendlies. I mean, they rarely tell the full story of a season, listeners. I can remember going back into the dim and distant past. You know, you can have a ripping pre-season where you're all before you're laying down, where you're winning, scoring goals, and then the actual league season comes and you're struggling in the relegation zone. We've also had seasons where we've done nothing pre-season, a bit like, as Morrow says, that Hasan refers to on the Chaps's interview, where players just don't put 100% in. They don't want to get injured. You know, we've got a full league campaign, 46 games. I think the Caribou Cup against QPR, we probably have to. I know it's a London derby, but we probably should regard that as a slightly ramped up friendly. Really, I mean, does anyone really want a Caribou Cup run? I don't think any of us really do. The emphasis this season for me has to be on the Championship. We have to, and I'm saying I never thought I'd be saying these words about more. We have to think in terms of a top 8 finish. That's the playoff zone now, the top 8. Higher than top 8, ideally. We came third last season within 1 point of automatic promotion. So we have a weight of expectation now. Now, in my opinion, and you correct me if you're wrong, listeners out there, we've never as a club, and I go back a long way, but I can't think of a time where we've ever really done particularly well as the favourites. We don't carry that weight of taking teams apart. We are best as underdogs. We have to change that. One of the reasons why I believe Alex Neil has been sanguine about the likes of Billy Mitchell and Danny Mack and others too. Bannon has left us, hasn't he? The soap opera Barry Bannon story, I won't go into that. Macaulay, but we're good as underdogs, but we've never really been able to dismantle teams that park the bus, e.g. Hull City in the playoff. That's big time football, and that's what we've got to try and develop. We need more quality. Yes, we do need Millwall type players because the crowd demand it. I demand it. I'm the same as anyone else that goes down the den. You want to see fire in the belly, but you do need to see some quality, because I made this point when I was speaking to Gabriel Sutton. I did a call with him earlier on today. The thing with the Millwall way, if you want to put it in those terms, or the Millwallness, is it's only ever got us to the first division on one occasion. It'll take you so far. It'll give you a close run thing, and we've had a few of those a lot of them actually, in recent times, but in the end you're going to need some quality to get you over the line. So yeah, we're going to be seeing, I mean, the underdogs no more, as it might be the best phrase to put it. We need a psychological shift. We are now hunted, dear listeners. When has that ever been the case, rather than the hunter? in Championship terms. I don't know, can't think of it. But one thing I will say is the club is in a very good place. We've made some fantastic signings. Hasan and the other boys have mentioned Tariq Conte, Sykes, Elkan Baggett. Very recently, Kyrell Lisby, which I think is a very interesting signing from Peterborough. Father and son, I can't think of many occasions in football, let alone Millwall, where a father and son have played for the same club. If anyone can suggest any, send them in to me, because I can't think of any. Do let me know. And also the interesting signing which Hasan mentioned of and I think David before that, Jensen Metcalf, a defensive midfielder, clearly been brought in as the new Billy Mitchell. There we are. Shame to see Billy go, shame to see Danny go. They're all through and through. And as yet, no news on the Femi front. I think it's probably certain, and I'm going to go on a limb here, listeners, I have no inside track, but given the amount of money we've been spending and the fact that Femi hasn't appeared in any of the pre-season games, he's almost certainly on his way. One final mention before I let you go. This is just a short and sharp edition. The bizarre injury to Mihailo Ivanovic. Only at Millwall can you have bizarre injuries that put your top scorer out of action. It reminds me of Sean Hutchinson all those years ago falling over his wheelie bin and injuring himself for a period of the campaign. Goalkeeping, we'll see. Lucas Jensen, I think, will probably be tested early in the season. Maybe Max Crocombe is the backup to Lucas, but we'll see how that works out too, because clearly last season Alex Neil preferred Anthony Patterson, so we shall see. Anyway, dear listeners, I want to say a big thank you to the boys for those voice notes. Really appreciate it. We're going to see how the Bromley game goes tonight. Fingers crossed that we get a result, just to take some of the internet experts off of our collective back. There we go. For now, from me, Nick Hart, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Keep the voice notes coming, boys. If you send them to me, I'll produce a show of some sort or another. And I'll be back probably after the QPR game, if not. All the best till then. Thanks. Arrivederci Millwall.
Achtung, Millwall.
Who do you want to watch?